welcome to the Examinations Masterclass Series developed by the Toronto Centre of the RCCO. My name is Marnie Giesbrecht. In this video, I will discuss sight reading and offer suggestions for exam preparation at various levels while focusing on the basics. Additional information, including examples and resources, can be found on the examinations menu of the RCCO website at rcco.ca. Organists often accompany singers, choirs, and instrumentalists who offer little time to prepare for first rehearsals. Many organists choose and prepare numerous hymns, responses, preludes, offertories, postludes, and accompaniments every week for services. And teachers also choose and demonstrate music for their students. In all these activities, proficiency in sight reading can save time and stress and make all this music more enjoyable. Sight reading is a skill, and everyone can learn and improve this skill by simply doing it. Scheduling 5 to 10 minutes of your daily practice for sight reading will develop and increase your skills. An added benefit, you may find your musical curiosity and knowledge expanding as you broadly seek more and more music to sight read. Most important element of sight reading. The most important element in sight reading is setting and maintaining a steady pulse throughout. A fluent performance that maintains pulse and tempo with a few notes that, in effect, or articles missing in action will always make a better impression than a performance of all the right notes with hesitations, tempo fluctuations, and worse, I think I'll start over. How to systematically work at sight reading. Let us compare sight reading to taking a road trip, and you are the driver. To prepare, you study the map, the starting point, destination, your general direction, highways and intersections, and any landmarks along the way. You need to know if you'll be picking up passengers. Before we start, we look ahead for manual changes, registration changes, and any indications to couple manuals. What kind of vehicle are you driving? Some indications of your vehicle's make, size, general speed, and color may be given at the top of the map, such as andante, cantabile, maestoso, allegro, and so on. And the registration suggestions give you an idea of the color. To quickly incorporate these instructions, you will need to know where to find flutes, principals, and reeds on each manual of the organ you are playing. You will also need to quickly recognize code words for flutes, such as bourdon, gedeckt, and anything with flute in it. Principals, including diapason, octave, or mantra, and reeds. At the more advanced levels, you may be asked to add an oboe or trumpet or other such reed. Back to the analogy, once you are driving on the highway, you will engage your speed control and maintain a constant tempo, always looking at the road ahead of you. At the same time, you are aware of cars, buildings, occasionally people and animals around you. You are also aware of signals on the dashboard in front of you. You are alert and ready for bends and turns in the road, as well as for the unexpected. Our aim in sight reading is to take in as much information as we can before we play, and then to play fluently and rhythmically at a constant tempo. We want to see, play, and hear the music in time, all the while looking ahead. Should we miss or mess any notes along the way, we must instantly forgive and forget them. Keep our focus on where we are and where we are going. So what about getting a driver's license in sight reading? What does one need to be a good sight reader? Familiarity and fluency in playing scales and chords in all keys enable us to sight read pieces in any key and to quickly identify accidentals, modulations, or other deviations or detours around the home key. Owning, but specifically using a metronome for sight reading practice gives you several advantages. By setting the tempo at a reasonable speed that reminds you of your heartbeat, such as 58 or 60, will not only set you on a manageable course, but also help keep you calm and always keep your pulse steady. It will prevent you from slowing down or speeding up as you play and show you where those things really wanted to happen. Now for an example. Let us consider and prepare to play an example taken from an RCCO Colleague exam in 2012. We see, first of all, our tone color indications. Flutes 8 and 4 on the swell, principal 8 on the grate. The swell is coupled to the grate, soft 16 and 8 on the pedal, and the swell coupled to the pedal. Set them up as you are reading them. Andante tells us it's a walking speed. That's good, because we never want to go too fast. Now, what's the time signature? 3/4. I'll be feeling and counting this in 3, but now there is an upbeat and there is a tied note. Without the tie, it would sound like da, 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 da. And so with the tied note, da, 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 da. So I'm just kind of thinking of that rhythm. I'm thinking it out loud right now, but I would be thinking it in my head. Now we check the key signature. 1 sharp is a major or minor mode. Let's take a look at the end as well as the beginning, and we can see it's in G major. Now quickly scan the music for any deviations, accidentals indicating modulations or key changes. So we see some C sharps at the end of the first line and the beginning of the second line. There is a G sharp in the pedal in measure 6 and another C sharp in measure 7 in the soprano voice. So it looks like a modulation and cadence in D major. Now at that point, I also see a manual indication to put both hands on the grate in the middle of measure 8. So now I'm wondering where it was I was supposed to start. So I take a look, and I'm going to start with the right hand on the swell and the left hand on the grate. That's good. Now going back to that cadence in measure 8, looking ahead, I see C sharp and D sharp in the pedals in measure 9. And there is one in the alto voice in measure 9. So it looks like a detour through E minor. In the last line, there is another manual indication. Back to the swell and close the swell box. So then I had better make sure it's open to begin. Let's do that now. Yes, mezzo forte is indicated, so maybe I don't need to open it all the way. Normally I would talk less and accomplish these observations in 60 seconds. If you are preparing for an RCCO exam, practice setting a stopwatch to 60 seconds while you look over the piece before playing. You will get better at this as you practice it. You should eventually find you can take in multiple elements at once and even have time to imagine playing it. And now I'll play it. few words about registration. Get to know the organ on which you will be playing your exam so that you can easily access flutes, principals, couplers, and reeds. Hopefully, you will have time before the exam starts to set up some possible stop combinations for sight reading as well as for your other keyboard tests. Resources. Organ technique books, or volumes that have pieces graded from easier to more difficult, are excellent for gradually advancing skills. The Petrucci Online Library Project, or imslp.org, has enormous amounts of music available for free or for a donation. You can search a composer and explore the music, or search a genre or category such as hymn or chorale prelude, organ trio, or just organ music. I highly recommend sight reading trios, since this is an important texture for organists, reading independent parts on 3 staves. In summary, sight reading is a skill that builds with regular practice. I encourage you to approach each piece you sight read like a puzzle to be solved or a game to be played. Decide to sight read daily. I hope this session will help and encourage you to become an avid sight reader, as well as help you with your exam preparation. Good luck.